you were coming, I again called a friend of mine who was a Navy doctor during the same time period we're talking about. Slightly after that, and he all of a sudden was healing a pilot, a person who had been pilot. And he began to tell him a story, and he basically said, one day I was up in one of the faster airplanes that we had, and I had something that was a spherical object that was ahead of me. And I called back and I said, are there any friendlies over here? He actually took off from a Texas location, headed off that way, and
towards New Mexico.
And he said, they said, well, no, there's no friendlies here. He said, not only that, but he's accelerating away from me, and yet I have the fastest airplane that's been designed. And
which at that time was...
And therefore it can't be one of us.
Well, that was...
And he said, well, they said, well, you have the weapon on board. It was a new design.
Oh.
And he said, go on ahead and shoot it down. And so he did.
He shot down the Roswell craft. Do you know who did it?
He said, don't give the people my name, nor give
you know this
nor
man?
give, no, you certainly.
He shot it down.
He's a very dear.
What kind of a weapon?
The doctor is a very dear friend of mine.
What kind of a weapon?
I don't know. We have all kinds.
Because bullets were only 1,500 miles an hour back then.
We have
magnetic pulse.
Soviet Russia. Anyhow,
Nikola Tesla died in the Hotel New Yorker on July 7th, coming into the morning of the 8th in 1943. Freedom of Information Act request, FBI, FOIA documents reveal that Tesla's death ray was the only defense we had against atomic bombs. And the question is, as these documents reveal, this secrecy around the Tesla death ray, which is a laser weapon used to strike at an aircraft as a ray to short circuit all of its electrical systems, all of the spark plugs, all of the engineering in the craft to actually down the craft. The question is the Tesla death ray the weapon that was used, that Boyd Bushman's testimony tells us, to take down the flying saucer at Roswell? Because we know from the dates that the Tesla death ray was being developed in 1943 by the United States government, and the Roswell craft appears in our skies in 1947 in July, that there's plenty of time to have shot down them at Roswell.
Well, then the individual said that he went and landed at a nearby airport, went over and walked into the craft. Evidently one of them was out walking around, because there were only 3 when he was in.
3 aliens at that time?
And he walked in and they were all 4 feet and under, but he could see through the walls of the craft from the inside out.
Whoa.
And it kind of...
translucent material.
And the material he was stepping on was spongy, he said. It wasn't...
So what about this liquid wall at Roswell?
Well, if you will follow your friend and mine, Lazar, they didn't find any light bulbs, any electricity.
Well, you know, the flying saucer thing, from the Buddhist point of view, the Buddhists, for example, in the Avatamsaka Sutra, when the Buddha gives his sort of big first initial statement in this very large scripture,